Okay, we're going to look at all the things that it takes to build a human, and we're going to start with the digestive system. And so we got our little friend here, Mr. Caber Brown, or we can call him Brownie or Stinky, and your entire purpose is to make tons of this stuff. So let's start off with the digestive system. These are the basic parts that we're going to look at. You're never going to be asked to label a diagram or name me these parts. I want you to be able to work with them in practical terms, okay, and answer intelligent questions based on this. The length of the human digestive system is about the length of this snake. It's actually slightly longer, but it generally doesn't crawl up on you and choke you to death, though, perhaps it has at some point and we just don't know it. So anyway, we have a long digestive system. So we are essentially a giant snake or a worm. There are a couple of basic chemicals you need to know. Acids dissolve everything, but enzymes target one thing. So if you eat the sugar glucose, your body has to make glucase to break it down. Paper is called cellulose. Cellulase breaks it down. Since goats make cellulase, they can eat paper and get sugar out of it. A very famous one, lactose, is the sugar found in milk. You've got to have lactase in your system to digest it. If you don't make lactase anymore, which is most humans, then you are lactose intolerant and you won't enjoy the experience of drinking or eating milk products unless being bloaty, farty, crampy, and being Sir Poops a lot is enjoyable for you. There are more than 1,300 enzymes known in the body, and a deficiency of them can be very problematic. In some cases, it just makes you Mr. Farty Pants, but that's about it. One famous one, lactate, is an available over-the-counter enzyme to replace the one you're no longer making. Hormones are signals. They don't do anything on their own. They tell something else to do their job in the body. So hormones are like, you're not the boss of me. And you're familiar with three of them. Testosterone, the male hormone that makes you think you can kick an alligator and run away faster than it can turn. Estrogen, the female hormone. I'm just not even going to touch that one. And insulin is the hormone you need to process sugar. So you already came equipped with at least three of them that you know about, okay? The hormone doesn't do the work itself. It tells something else to do the work. So the end result is hormones are used in itsy bitsy teensy weensy quantities because they're not the labor. They're just the signal to start the labor. Something else has to do it. Okay, now if we take away the decoration on a human being, it's kind of depressing. We're just a large frickin' worm that tastes nice, pleasant food in the one end, and we make plenty of Mr. Poopy Pants on the other end. It's really kind of sad when you think about it, that we're just a highly decorated bag of vomit and poop that stretches the length of your driveway probably. But it is a pretty amazing system. And I want to focus on a few things. The part where you feed is called the mouth, okay? And digestion starts in your mouth. And after that, things go to your stomach. No surprise there. And I think most people know about the small intestine and the large intestine. So it's not like I've taught you all this new stuff that you're going to get confused with. But there's a bunch of valves. You don't need to know the name of the valves, but your body has got like basically airlocks or valves to keep things going the right way so you don't like vomit poop one day. So there are valves at the top of your throat, at the top and bottom of your stomach. There's a valve between your intestine and your poop chute, and then there's like at least 4 of them to prevent you from pooping your pants when you sneeze. So there's an amazing number of gated valves at the bottom. Like when you get down to your anus there's like all these like side doors that when you go to poop they retract. They're not a door like going meh. They're like swellings, right? There's a band muscle that goes around the rectum to let you pinch it off, and then there's like a double anus, and then there are these things called hemorrhoids that when you sneeze they swell, and they're all designed to prevent you from greasing your pants, which is really thoughtful of nature. Now, when does the rectum begin? That's the point where you go, I gotta go poo. As soon as our little Mr. Poopy Pants reaches this dotted line, that's when you get like, okay, folks, it's time for me to go somewhere. And for children, this usually means when they say, Mommy, I have to go poopy. What they mean is 5, 4, 3, 2, it's like over really quick. And there's a couple of basic organs we're going to look at that chip into the digestive system, the pancreas and the liver. So we're not going to be studying hundreds of organs, just those two is good enough to look at this. So let's take a look at the various sections of it, right? In the mouth, we do the chomping and grinding and pre-digestion. This is called masticating. Your mouth adds some enzymes like amylase, which turns starch into sugar. There are lots. So chewing your food thoroughly helps digestion. But it also, your mouth, makes lysosome. Now, lyso means to kill. Lysol, the spray, literally means killing solution. Any biology term with lyso or lice in it means to kill. So lysozyme kills bacteria. So your saliva helps destruct harmful bacteria in your mouth. This is why crunchier food is less bad for your teeth. When you chew, you make saliva. And the saliva is full of all sorts of things that get rid of bad bacteria in your mouth. Drinking apple juice does not stimulate saliva, but chewing an apple does. So crunchy food help make you lots of spit to kill bad bacteria. And what does this take? About 30 seconds? And it's on down to the stomach. The most famous role of the stomach is to mix up acid with the food and break it down. But again, enzymes, which are targeted molecules that attack only one substance, flood the stomach. The stomach prepares the food for absorption, but contrary to a lot of popular belief, it doesn't actually absorb much on its own. Some really tiny molecules can go directly into the bloodstream from the stomach, like certain medicines, water, and really simple sugars like glucose, which you can even absorb in your mouth. You can literally hold sugar in your mouth till it's gone, and it will go into your bloodstream. The stomach passes this soupy acidic mush to the enzyme, and it's called chyme, which is not testable. Man, oh man, do they have some dare-based food. And one of those dare-based foods is pajada, which is basically Italian for vomit sausage. They cook the entire intestine of a calf with all the stuff inside it. Basically, pajada is stomach porridge or vomit sausage. Now, who is that hungry to try this? So, I want you, if you ever go to Italy one day, order pajata for your friend, and at the moment they're biting into it, tell them what it is, and you will get a viral video. This part is about 4 hours in process, but it wildly varies depending on your age, what you ate, how active you were. So, but we could say, it's a lot longer in your stomach than it was in your mouth. Now, the small intestine, here's where the action begins. Okay? Your stomach basically goes bleh, and vomits into the small intestine, which goes, tasty. And this stuff is basically like acidic barf. So the liver and pancreas are just waiting. They're just like hanging around the outside of the stomach. And as soon as like bleh, the stuff comes out, they start like boom, 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 like paint pellet guns. And they just like target the snot out of it with all these enzymes and other things to help the breakdown. So the pancreas, you know of, puts in insulin, but it doesn't put it into the intestine. It sends insulin out to the bloodstream to tell everybody, hey, everybody, Italian food's coming. And it gets the pancreas ready. But then the pancreas throws all these enzymes in, and luckily, it's smart enough to coat them in baking soda. So when the chyme comes into the small intestine, it's really acidic. Pancreas neutralizes the acid as it adds the enzymes that are necessary. Okay, now the liver dumps bile into the intestine, and bile is like putrid dish detergent. It mixes up the fat into tiny globules so it can be broken down. If you have a bile disorder and you don't make it, then the fat doesn't really break down and it kind of greases the tubes for Mr. Brown, and sneezing could make you go like, oh, time for an underwear change. So you really want your liver to make its bile. Now, the small intestine, which is not testable in the pieces, has 3 parts. The duodenum, that's where the liver and the pancreas do their magic work, and the food gets broken down. Then the next section, the jejunum, and the ileum is where you finally suck this mess into your bloodstream. It's all ready now for your body to strain it out and send the liquid diet that you ultimately live on into your bloodstream. Only the liquids move in. And that's about the same time as in the stomach. So it's now, 10 hours since you ate. Now, the large intestine has the crappiest job of all. It mops up the water. There's so much water in your digestive tract that you are just going to spray from the back end if the large intestine doesn't mop up that water. It would be permanent liquid diarrhea for your entire life if you didn't have that large intestine. You would actually run the risk of dying of dehydration without it. There's so much water to be mopped up. So yes, unfortunately, you literally drink up your own poopy water from your large intestine. You reclaim the butt water. And your body has a means of doing it without killing you. Now, this dries out Mr. Brown and his children really well and readies them for the world. If your large intestine overdoes it, you're just not going to get the poopy out. Now, here's the weird part. It is a gigantic heap of bacteria. When you are born, you are completely sterile. And baby poop has almost no odor. Then you get sort of infected from the outside world and eventually have more than 700 kinds of bacteria in your lower intestine. Now, your poop stinks. And also farting can begin. Yay! Dads and granddads everywhere can begin to say, pull my finger. But these nasty-ass bacteria, quite literally, are necessary for life. In return for the social embarrassment, they'll give you vitamins. So did you know that your poop is like, at any given time, you have about 4 chocolate bars of pure bacteria in your intestine. Every poop you take, like more than half of it, is dead bacteria from your intestines. So we are a gigantic bacteria factory. Something that has been changing in my life is we didn't really appreciate how much bacteria plays a role in our health. Even your stomach has bacteria that can live in the acid. And now we realize that these helpers are profound. Not only do these bacteria help us digest food, but they actually keep invaders out. It's kind of like when the mafia sets up in a turf and they're milking a local neighborhood and some other mafia comes in, they're like, yo, we's here first. This is our colon. You buzz off. You go get the family dog's over this. Stay out of this colon. They actually will keep invaders out, so they're almost like an independent immune system. And they're now beginning to realize that sometimes people who become obese, they simply have the wrong bacteria in their large intestine. They got super bacteria that are doing far more digestion than they want. There are some people that have actually gotten the right bacteria in their small intestine that when they ate sugar, they got drunk. They were actually fermenting the food. And so there's a cure for it. You have to take antibiotics to kill that bacteria so your stomach doesn't start making alcohol. But my father spent years trying to locate where he could get a hold of that stuff so he could drink it and then just be able to drink, Gatorade and get drunk. But so you can actually wind up fermenting if you get the right bacteria and get drunk on sugary drinks. So we have an internal ecology, and they've actually even begun to think that some forms of insanity may be caused by bizarre bacteria in your gut. So it's really important that that stuff stays where it is. It does a great job for you, but it must not get into the bloodstream. There, it's nasty. So let's take a look at some of the stuff that goes on in terms of these critters that are living in us that shouldn't. This little chart here shows the number of bacterial cells located in these parts of the body. Now, this isn't 2 cells, 3 cells, 4 cells. This is 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, million, billion. Okay? These are the zeros on the number. And here's 4 species of bacteria out of like the 700. Lactobacillus, Streptococcus, E. coli, and Bifidobacterium. Or, as I call it, Bifidobacterium. Lactobacillus, you see that word lacto? That's milk. This one helps you break down milk and stuff, and it's actually in active yogurt. If you buy some probiotic yogurt, it'll say lactobacillus. You will not find Streptococcus and E. coli for sale on the shelves. These two are nasty, like nasty enough to kill you. But they live fine where they happen to be. So someone tracked this, and you can see that the mouth has actually got a nasty amount of bacteria in it. particularly streptococcus, which is not nice, is loaded in your mouth. But your stomach, they drop off a lot. Look at that. The stomach kills them. So they don't do so well in your stomach. And by the duodenum, which is like the top of your small intestine, who cares? There's virtually nothing. Then all of a sudden, they start to creep up again. And just before the food turns to poop, the bacteria levels start to rise. The cecum is just one part of the large intestine. Just call it the large intestine. Now you see the bacteria levels climb. So it turns out there's different ecological zones in your body and different levels of these bacteria. And this is only 4 out of the thousands that are in us. So we really are our own little world. And here's an example of someone decided to make a graphic that's a little bit intense, but this is on some of those medical diagram sites where they, people get a challenge to like make a good graphic. So this would be a basic, say, medical illustration, but more done for kids. My problem with it is I find it kind of busy. I tend to like simpler ones, but I do like the color coding. So it's always possible for you to make your own diagrams, You could do better than what the teachers do. Not better than mine, but you could do better than other teachers. So anyway, that's our brief introductory tour of the digestive system. You're not being tested on the parts. I'm going to test you on intelligent thinking using this slideshow. Not memorizing parts, but just being smart about what you can assume about this system.